up adventure awaits. Fly your seaplane around different islands as you chart new paths in Wayfinders. Thank you for joining me today at Tancher Mouse Studio D. I'm Kevin Delp. Wayfinders is a 2 to 4 player tile laying game that takes about 30 to 45 minutes to play. It's published by Pandasaurus Games and they sent us this copy to review. You'll randomly place resources on the hanger board. The game is set up in a 5x5 grid with a home tile in the middle with different color back tiles based on the rules that randomly place out around that home tile. You'll place out the planes on the board along with the corresponding airstrips in turn order. On your turn, you'll either place one meeple on the hanger board or pull up all your meeples. It's really up to you when you pull up, but you'll have to do it on your next turn after you placed your 5th meeple. When you pull up, you'll take one resource per worker starting from the top of the columns. Then after you've gotten your resources, you can pay a matching resource to the color of the mountain to move to a new island. You could stop there and pay more resources to build an airstrip. If there is already an airstrip present there, then you don't have to pay to move on or through that island. And if you decide to build an airstrip on an island that already has an airstrip of another player, then you pay the resource to the player in the first spot on that island. You can continue to move around the board and build airstrips as long as you have enough resources. When you're done, then you discard down to 3 resources and refill the hanger board. Well, why do you want to be moving and building airstrips? Well, all the tiles give you different kinds of benefits. There are one-time resource benefits that give you 1, 2, or 3 resources from the bag as soon as you build on that island. There are ongoing benefits, like all your green resources are now considered wild, or you can stop and move through yellow islands for free, or let you keep more resources. There are scoring benefits that activate at the end of the game, like getting 3 points for each red island where you've built an airstrip. 3 points for each of your airstrips surrounding this one, 3 points for your airstrips where it costs 3 or more resources, or 3 points for each of your islands where another player also has an airstrip. The game end is triggered when someone only has 2 airstrips left, and then you'll finish out the round so everyone in the game has an equal number of turns. The game plays pretty fast because usually players are on their turn placing out their worker on the hanger board. And you'll only have to wait when someone is pulling up their workers and they're going to be building the airstrips. But even then, they're only going to be building 1 or 2, so it's still pretty fast. There are some good choices throughout the game on where you should build your airstrip. Should you go on a place where no one has gone that will cost you an extra resource? Or go on a tile that has an airstrip, but then you're paying resources to your opponents? And lots of decisions on what tiles to build on, since there are varying costs involved. One of the things that annoys me a little bit is that the rules say you're building airstrips out on the board, but really they look like hangars. It's not a big deal, but I just wish they referred to them as hangars. I think it's probably because they didn't want to confuse players with the hanger board. My only other complaint is the graphic design at the bottom of each of the tiles. There's a lot going on at the bottom of the tile with all the icons and artwork. I wish it was just a little bit more clear so you can see the cost from far away. Maybe a shaded box or an outline. I don't think the dots are necessary and take away from what you're trying to see. But those are pretty much my only 2 negatives. I love this game. It's a cool theme, it has cool gameplay, it has cool components. I love trying to decide as I fly the seaplane around where to build, and I like to try to figure out where other people are trying to build and maybe beat them there so that when they do build, they have to pay me the resources. The player aid card is very helpful. One thing I didn't mention is that you can pay 2 matching resources for any wild resource, which is very helpful. It lists the turn order, and on the other side it has the iconography listed out, and then also some scoring effects. I also appreciate that you can see the benefits on each of the tiles at a glance, and if you look closely, you'll notice that all the black ones are for scoring, all the pointed ones are for ongoing effects, and all the other ones are for one-time benefits. So far my highest score is 68, and I'm just not sure what the trade-off is and trying to get the highest points between building in places where no one has built and never ever giving resources to other players, or being a little bit more generous and giving players resources and building where they've already gone. I think the key is building in places that is going to score you a lot of points. So looking at the tiles and sort of comboing those together, I think is going to be really helpful. But I have found in the games I've scored higher is that if I'm freer with my resources, then people are a little bit more generous with me, and I score a lot higher. I like how the hanger board works, and it's easy for you to slide the resources off the board and then move them up to put new ones on. So there are two game variants. One is you can just add different combinations of the blue, yellow, and red back tiles because they correspond to different kinds of benefits. And the other one is called Exploration, which basically starts the whole game board with all face down tiles except for the home base and the 4 orthogonally adjacent tiles. And then as you move onto a face up tile, then you're going to be flipping the other tiles face up surrounding it. I definitely am interested in trying that one out. I like the art for the game, and it fits the theme well, and you'll notice a lot of landmarks that are recognizable. I love the seaplanes. They look pretty cool. I'm a big fan of Wayfinders, and it is a contender to be one of my favorite games that I played in 2019. So if this sounds like something you would enjoy, then check out Wayfinders from Pandasaurus Games, releasing the end of October. We would love for you to subscribe to Tangermouse and check out all our videos coming out every day.